Hi friends, what's up? How you doing? My name is Sureshnie Ryder and you are here with us at Boston Broadcast and we are in the middle of another hashtag Study Sesh. As always, I'm joined by an absolute expert in her field and I'm so happy as always to catch up with Dr. Laura Fisher. Dr. Laura, how are you doing? This is a great topic because you are, if people know who you are and have had an opportunity to sit in one of your lectures, you truly are inspiring. You're very motivating. You're all about this growth mindset. You're all about finding solutions. And I think this one plays to all of your strengths, which I'm so chuffed about. We're talking about maximizing your performance. Now, we spoke about exam day. We spoke about the stress leading up to exam day, how to manage that stress, how to manage anxiety, because those are real hurdles. But I wanted to get a better sense of what maximizing performance is all about.
Yeah, I think maximizing performance might be one of my favorite kind of concepts. And I would probably, if I was to choose my own words, I would say it's about unlocking your potential. And it's about unleashing the greatness that is within you and pushing past your limits and breaking kind of those barriers that you feel are there and achieving your dreams with unstoppable determination and unwavering confidence. So for me, maximizing performance is really when you are able to tap into that part of yourself that knows that you have an extraordinary life and that your extraordinary life matters. And so step into your greatness and bring your unstoppable force of potential to the world, because the world is waiting for you to shine as brightly as you can and make your mark in the world. So yeah, I'm really passionate about the topic as well.
Fantastic. That is how we set the scene for hashtag Study Sesh today. Our topic is maximizing your performance on exam day. I want you to imagine us as your study buddies. I want you to just virtually think about those pom-poms that are all around us because you need those cheerleaders, and Boston is exactly that for you today. We're going to light up your roadmap. We're going to give you all of these little tricks, all of these hacks, all of these life hacks to get you through your exam day. Laura, I wanted to just touch base here. Do you think it's about having this particular mindset? Because for me, whenever I talk to my child or when I talk to peers and when things go wrong, because they do, I always say, you know what, that was actually an opportunity to learn. But that is the mindset that, some of us adopt. Unfortunately, there's some real obstacles out there. Your self-imposter syndrome creeps in,
Yeah.
the doubting creeps in, or people saying, it's not possible, you actually can't do it. And some people get inspired and worked up like that. They get amped and like, you know what, I'll prove it to you. However, it's not the case for everybody.
Yeah.
So what kind of obstacles can get in the way of having that positive mindset?
Okay. So I mean, I couldn't agree with you more around the obstacles that generally are in your mind. And just speaking from my own experience, if I think about the things that I've grappled with, and particularly, going into an exam day, the first thing that will come into my mind is like self-doubt. Do I know it all? Am I going to get it all right? And am I actually even worthy of doing this exam? As you get on in your tertiary studies and all of a sudden you're in your honors and your masters and you're thinking like, well, this seems like I must know a lot, but actually, do I know a lot? So overcoming self-doubt requires building self-awareness and challenging negative thoughts and really practicing self-compassion and kindness. And recently I've actually become so aware of the word gentleness. I think it's a lost word. And I think we need to remember that we do need to be gentle with ourselves. We often also a big obstacle that I know I've felt in my life is that fear of failure. And that fear of failure can often paralyze you and prevent you from taking the risk towards your goal. And it's really essential to reframe your fear of failure as an opportunity for growth. So I'll give you a really good example. I did a massive rock jump at a place called the End of the World in Hawaii over December, and it was terrifying looking down. But when I looked out across the horizon and I wasn't looking down, I actually saw the full potential of this beautiful ocean, and it enabled me to become unstuck. And really, fear is just that moment before you take the leap. Once you've leapt, you're doing it. You're making the impossible possible. So, and leading up to that jump, I mean, I went through a lot of kind of self-talk. You know, I was like, you can do this. No, you can't do this. You can do this. You can't do this. And this is the kind of thing that happens on exam days. Negative self-talk and harsh criticism and having that constant self-critique really erodes our sense of being able to accomplish what we really can accomplish. And you've got the one, you know, the angel on this side saying, you can do it. And you've got the something darker on this side saying, you're a loser, don't even try, you know. And actually, it's about really setting your mind to the end goal and not getting stuck in the moment of that negative self-talk. And I think that a very real thing that leads to the negative self-talk is that I'm not going to be able to do it perfectly. Now, obviously, just going back to the analogy of my jump, you know, you have to jump perfectly when you're jumping 18 meters. And actually, your body wants to naturally go into perfect form because it doesn't want to get critically injured. So when you're striving and tensing up, it actually leads to an unrealistic expectation and an excessive sense of needing to control a situation. And instead of focusing on the process of doing what it is that you need to do, getting through the exam, and celebrating each victory as you go through each question, you actually become, again, this idea of stuck in your head, paralyzed. And perfectionism is definitely something that paralyzes us. So I had my one son on one side saying, Mama, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. It's okay. It's okay. Because I mean, I was like trembling at first. You know, you like have to step out onto this tiny little rock and you're jumping to what Captain Cook thought of as the end of the world, and you're about to leap into the Pacific Ocean. So my younger child, who's very empathic, was saying, Mama, you don't have to, you've got nothing to prove.
Yes.
And then on the other side, I've got my 16-year-old saying, just get on with it. You can do this. You know, why are you even waiting? You're just making yourself more anxious. So these external pressures really create within us an angst as to what we should actually do. And we know innately what it is that we should do. You have prepared for the exams. You are ready and you can take the leap. And you don't have to succumb to the external pressures, but you can actually tap into your own kind of peace and then take the leap into the first question. And I think sort of the final thing that I'd just say in terms of the obstacles is you might have had experiences previously where things didn't go as well as you wanted them to go. Yeah. So I did a jump with a friend when I was much, much younger, and it didn't go the way we wanted it to go. She jumped. She was overly tense. She landed completely skew and she shattered her coccyx. And of course, she's never jumped anything since then. So past experience often creates like a lack of resiliency or a lack of ability to bounce back from setbacks or adversity. And so I really want to say to you, as you enter into your exams on exam day, think, I can do this, take the leap, make the impossible possible, stay focused and motivated, and you build resiliency through these practices. These are actually mindfulness practices. And then at the end, be kind, be gentle, and tell yourself, well done, you did it.
Laura, I started to visualize you literally taking a leap of faith, and that's what you did. And that's because you have this positive mindset. Let's talk about mindsets and how it can actually impact our performance, because yours was really great. Your friend was nervous, and that's why she tensed up physically. It affected her physically, and unfortunately, she had the shattered coccyx. But can you tell us more about how this mindset actually affects our performance?
Yeah, so a really, really interesting study began in 2006 by a woman called Carol Dweck and her colleagues. And in their research, they wanted to distinguish between two things. They wanted to distinguish what makes a growth mindset and what makes a fixed mindset. Because individuals with growth mindset can believe that their abilities can be developed through hard work, dedication, and perseverance. And they see challenges as opportunities for growth and are more likely to persist in the face of setbacks. On the other hand, individuals with fixed mindset tend to believe that their abilities are fixed and that they have kind of hit their glass ceiling, and they tend to avoid challenges and give up more easily and view failure as then the evidence that actually fixes their mindset even further.
Wow.
So in Carol Dweck's seminal studies, she and her colleagues found that the massive, significant difference on growth mindset versus fixed mindset was that students with growth mindset demonstrated consistently higher levels of academic achievement as well as higher levels of motivation compared to those with a fixed mindset. And they were able to categorize these two groups in a number of different ways before the study started. But ultimately, what I'm saying to you is that it's really important to develop a growth mindset, because Carol Dweck's pioneering research and numerous studies since then have replicated and expanded upon these findings and have provided further and further and further evidence for the powerful impact of mindset on student performance outcomes. So they've explored things like the factors that influence mindset development, such as encouragement, teacher feedback, classroom interventions. But overall, the research really shows that fostering a growth mindset can happen. And when you allow yourself to foster within yourself and surround yourself by people who encourage you toward a growth mindset, you will see an improved academic achievement and success. So it means it's imperative for us really to recognize and address the obstacles of the mind so as to cultivate growth mindset. Growth mindset is about fostering resilience, embracing challenges, and maintaining a positive outlook on life, even in the face of adversity. With that kind of mindset, we're able to unlock our potential and thrive in all aspects of our life.
Ah, we are here to thrive. That's exactly what we're here for. And this is why Study Sesh is here, brought to you by Boston Broadcast. We're trying to give you this roadmap. We're giving you excellent advice from the experts in the field. Dr. Fisher, when you started talking about Carol Dweck, I was like, wow, I think you can start as yourself, even students. If you're sitting in your room right now and watching this on YouTube, and then let's start off with the people closest to you. Look amongst your siblings and say, am I like my brother if he's super positive? Am I like my sister who often is just feeling negative and doesn't believe that she could jump and do these fun things. It's so interesting. This research is really phenomenal. We've learnt about having a fixed mindset versus having a growth mindset. Now, we've got this research, but what do we do with it? How can we take this and how can students actually overcome the negative comments? Because it gets very loud in your head sometimes when you're feeling down already.
It does. Yeah, it really does. So an interesting analogy that I use is when you are on the ground floor of a very, very busy building, it's very loud. Okay. Now, if you were to imagine yourself stepping into a glass elevator, so you can see all the way through each one of the sides of the walls, and this glass elevator was to take you up. The further away you get from the noise, the more perspective you're able to get on yourself. So eventually, when you get to the top floor, and there are these elevators that exist where there's not even a floor, the floor is also clear. It's absolutely serenely quiet. And in that moment, you are left with yourself, and you can actually take a moment to mindfully consider what noise you want to cut out and what noise you want to listen to. And this is what mindfulness is about. It's about taking ourselves out of the noise of our heads, and the higher we can remove ourselves from that noise, the more perspective we're able to gain on our whole lives. And we're therefore able to sort of look at ourselves and almost bear witness to the narratives that we have going on in our minds and in our heads. And that's what mindfulness is. That's what self-awareness is. It's about noticing your thoughts and deciding which one of these am I actually going to take seriously, and which one am I going to say, hey, buddy, like, get out
You've
of
got
here.
to go.
You're not helping me.
Wow.
So when you notice the noise of the negative beliefs, you need to ask yourself a question. And I've done this with thousands of students. If you write down a bunch of things that are negative about yourself that you believe, and then I asked you to substantiate why you believe that those things are negative characteristics that you have, how many of them can you actually substantiate? Probably not many. I can't do it. I'm always a failure. Let's just take those two because we want to keep it short. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Have you ever done it before? Well, you don't have substantiating evidence to tell me that you can't do it if you've even ever once done it before.
Wow.
I'm always a failure. Okay, have you ever succeeded at anything? Yeah, I have. Okay, you do not have substantiating evidence. So you begin to actually dump your negative biases towards yourself because you don't have evidence for them. They just talk. And looking for evidence that contradicts your negative beliefs and challenging yourself with a more balanced and realistic perspective of yourself is a really, really good idea. You wake up on exam morning, I'll give you one thing that will give you a clear head straight away. Run yourself a massive bucket of ice cold water and dunk your head in it.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, your head will clear in a way that you have never experienced before. Those of you who've done this will know what I'm speaking about. You are capable of way more than you could ever imagine. You are not going to get everything right and perfect all the time. So we have to practice self-compassion, but don't go in with all of this noise. Elevate away from the noise. See what substantiating evidence do I have to back up my negative beliefs? If I don't have the substantiating evidence, they aren't true. And if I'm still battling and still got the noise going on, very practical, go run yourself that bucket of ice cold water. So I'm telling you to dunk your head in a bucket of ice cold water, and then I'm going to tell you to be self-compassionate. It's actually one of the most compassionate things you can do for yourself, because it really clears your mind and it improves your cognitive performance and your memory retention. For real, I'm not even joking. So part of being self-compassionate is about surrounding yourself with positivity, letting go of the negativity, surrounding yourself with those in your family and your friends and mentors who uplift and encourage you, and limiting your exposure to those that don't. So these practices, the taking perspective, seeing substantiating evidence, and throwing away that which is not relevant, and if all else fails, dunking your head in a bucket of cold water and coming up and saying, I love you, Laura, and you've got this. You can do it.
Yes.
And thank you for my brain. Thank you for today. And go out into your exam day and believe that you are actually able to jump that jump.
Laura, thank you so much for sharing of these insights. You were like, yes, you got this. Because I think you can flip the script, you can change your narrative, you can really breathe positivity. And that's what I love about this whole session. Can you now elaborate though? Because there's a very important factor here that comes into play, time management. Because now, how do you control this and how do you maximize everything with time management to maximize your actual performance? I think you spoke about your sons, and it was a great analogy about the child that, he spends all of the time on the tough questions, and it then slows the process down. And then the ones that he's actually super strong at, he now is racing through it because he spent all the time on the tough one. Let's talk about time management and how it comes into play.
Yeah. So I think that you have actually pretty much summarized what I would suggest and what I have done since probably university, when I started to believe that I actually could perform, because school, we're just not going to go there. So when you, first of all, you probably will have a sense of how your exam is structured. Because educators generally do speak to you about this kind of thing. But I would say the most critical thing for time management in an exam, to get the best out of you in the exam, is take time at the very beginning, just a page through, and to look at what kind of time you're going to need to allocate to questions that are heavily weighted, or questions that are more lightly weighted that you might know a lot about, but it's only worth 5 marks. And then also just be blunt with yourself. Identify the questions you don't know the answer to and just leave them. And then, as I said to you the other day, once you've set these kind of limits and parameters in place, first of all, you know what to expect. It's not like when you turn the page, you're like, you know what to expect. Yeah. So once you've set a time limit for each question, actually stick to it and ensure that you've got enough time to address all of the sections of the exam. Because from my own learning, you can either rush through it and then you end up making silly mistakes. You can not plan and then you end up not finishing everything, or you can take 2 minutes up front to look at the entire exam and actually plan how you're going to work yourself through this exam, because that is what actually is going to maximize your performance. And then if you've got a little bit of time left at the end, don't be the student that has to be the first person to hand in the exam paper. Use the maximum amount of time to double check any calculations, equations, errors. Make sure that your responses address all aspects of the question. And then you can even like pay attention to things like grammar and punctuation and spelling, because these little things actually impact the clarity of your answer and put your marker into a much better state of mind when marking your paper,
Yes.
because they can read your paper. So I think that, you know, those are really important elements to time managing to maximize for exam success. I think we have, you know, perhaps sometimes see exams as a bit of a punitive way to assess, but the reality is they are still part of our educational system, as we spoke about. So a mindset characterized by the belief in one's ability to actually persevere through the exam is actually going to result in a higher academic achievement than the person who is, just like, I don't even understand why we have to do exams in this day and age
Yeah.
when we've got all the access to all the knowledge we need to know. You know, it's not so much about that there are actually good reasons. If we go back to note taking, and
Yes.
I spoke to you about the importance of handwriting to build neural connections in your brain that actually help with memory retention and memory retrieval, or information retrieval. You know, exams are similar. There are reasons and good reasons for exams. And then just speaking into mindset and exam performance, it's significant and well documented that students who go into an exam with a growth mindset tend to consistently outperform students who went into the exam with a fixed mindset. So the
Gotcha.
impact of mindset extends to your exam and beyond your exam, because beyond your exam, the individual with the growth mindset is likely to continue to set challenging goals. They're likely to seek out constructive feedback and engage in effective study habits and have a positive attitude, because they view obstacles as opportunities for growth rather than threats to their self-worth. So this is very important, and just kind of thinking about maximizing yourself on exam day. The growth mindset versus fixed mindset. The fixed mindset, it definitely heightens anxiety. It lowers
Yeah.
self-esteem. It decreases motivation. And ultimately, you end up avoiding studying. So you struggle with your exam, and it becomes the self-fulfilling prophecy that I never get anything right. I'm never good enough. So really, in summary, I would just say, there's a lot of practical things in terms of time management, but then we're just going to land. I want us to just land with, yes, the time management and growth mindset, growth mindset, growth mindset.
This has truly been such a fascinating conversation, Laura, because every time you chat about these mindsets, I take it back to my real life, I take it back to my Technicon life, my high school life, and I also take it back to the friends that I surround myself with, my peers, my colleagues, and I go, yes, I've had to filter a lot of negativity, but this is where it's worked. And I think that's going to play into such a great role for young students as well. And I hope that this is the takeaway for them when they watch this particular episode of hashtag Study Sesh. I really do. I hope you take time to go through it and then reflect and then go back again, because the pivot can happen now. Even if you've always had this fixed mindset, I really believe that little switch, the reframe, reset, relook, readjust, it happens. The REs, they work. So, Laura, as we've discussed these valuable strategies, could you give us any practical takeaways and tips for students right now?
Yeah, a very interesting one just jumped to mind. I mean, I already told you to do something crazy and go dunk your head in a bucket of ice water, so I might as well add this one in. Before your exam, did you guys know that when you yawn, you reset your central nervous system? So,
No.
for real. I was reading about
Okay.
it this morning.
No, I want to
So
yawn.
yeah, so
Sorry.
yeah, don't make yourself like tired, but a big, like, nice inhale, that yawn resets you. And in that
What?
reset, it's that pivot. You can develop the growth mindset by pivoting simply by yawning. You can change your entire central nervous system's approach to how you're going to
Did
go
not know
into the
this.
exam.
Did not know this.
Yeah, so
Okay, done.
a couple of other things. We've said identifying and overcoming negative mindsets and recognizing where you have no substantiating evidence for what you are saying. I'm a failure. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Have you never succeeded at anything? You probably have. So overcome your negative mindset. Cultivate self-compassion by dunking your head in a bucket of cold ice water. But incorporating
It's great for wrinkles, everybody. It's great for wrinkles, that's all I'm saying.
and really incorporating kind of mindfulness practices, like as I spoke about, like, just getting perspective on things and becoming aware of your negative thoughts, becoming aware of the noise in your head, practicing self-compassion, practicing gratitude. Like, actually, sometimes I almost feel like we have to parent ourselves, because as you become adults, your parents play less and less of a parenting role and more of a mentoring role. And I think that we owe it to ourselves to thank ourselves when we've done well with something, and to talk to ourselves positively so that we culture a positive or cultivate a positive inner dialogue through self-affirmation and gratitude. We've spoken about the time management within the actual exam scenario, which I think is really important. And we've spoken repeatedly about embracing challenges, learning from failures, and this is what a growth mindset is about. And then I would just also say, if you find yourself like getting really stressed out in an exam, breathing techniques and just deep breathing can actually also calm you and help you to stay focused and confident. And this will also improve your positive mindset on exam day and throughout your exam. So I think that overall, maximizing performance on your exam day requires a real combination of psychological resilience, effective study strategies, and a growth mindset. And by implementing these practical strategies, I believe that you can enhance your exam performance and achieve all the goals that you want to achieve.
Oh, it's all available to you. The platter is here. Let's clear the clutter. Let's use these opportunities to learn and just overcome. I hope you go back to Study Sesh with Dr. Laura Fisher. I hope you go through all of the different episodes in this particular series, because she really has unlocked, unpacked, and delved really deeply into a whole bunch and a whole array of things that really affect your student life. Dr. Laura Fisher, thank you so much. I walk away a far more learned individual. I will never look at a yawn as something fun anymore, like, oh, I'm so bored. But I think what I loved the most out of everything is this clarity, is that, yes, as student life, we've got so much going on. There's sports going on, there's friends, there's having your social battery, keeping the social battery up, and the demands placed on young people. I get it. But I loved this idea of elevation, just imagining yourself in that perspex clear elevator and just rising above all of that noise. And that's what we hope that Study Sesh has done for you. Clear the clarity, help you elevate and get to that next level. We wish you all the best in all of your exams. And please, anytime, pop back to these episodes, pivot again and go back and revisit and go, yes, that makes sense. And let us know if these tips have helped you. I'd love to see your story and your journey. Thank you so much, Dr. Laura. And thank you so much for being part of #StudySesh.